Hello, everybody. I'm Paula Mary. It's the day of technical issues. I can't get through to the radio. I'm in France and I have the best cable in the world, but it ain't working. It's one of those things. So please join me tonight live. We're going to go live streaming in the caravan. Please come in and join me. So at first, it's going to take a time because everyone's looking at the Pulse Talk, but I'm not there. We've come over and we're going to do live streaming. So please come in and join me. So we're going to have a bit of an interlude, and this is Holistic Serenity. Please do enjoy. turn my mic on. It's one of those technical days. I hope you enjoyed it. That was Holistic Serenity, and welcome to Spiritual Surgery live. Unexpected, but live. Can't get through to the radio, but it was my last day anyway. So, and the guest is coming on tonight, Jane Broome, fellow presenter, and she will be in at 7:00. So as it was my last day, we were going to reminisce. So please come in on the comments and please speak to me. And I'm just going to change the banner. So it's all been a bit difficult this evening, but my guest is Jane Broome, and we're going to be talking all about mindfulness. And I'm in France. If you wonder where I am in France. So do come in and say hello in the comments. Now, as it's the last show, I've had some lovely messages from people, and a lot of listeners have said they really like the Nikki Allen show. That was nearly 2 years ago, and it was like Loose Women, but spiritual surgery, Loose Women. And watch out for next week when we go live, officially go live next week. This I didn't know, but I'm psychic, and actually I had a feeling it was in the air earlier today when I felt we were going to go live. So the guest is going to come on here as well. She will be here in 15 minutes time. So please come and send some messages, either text as well. So I'm going to read some of the messages that have come in tonight. So Annie, she has been part of the show as well, and she had been talking about a year ago all about Reiki and everything too. And so we've got a listener, Jackie, who says, "Hi Paula, I enjoyed your show so much in the last year. You have had some brilliant guests, but my favourite, Jane Broome." And Jane is in the house in 15 minutes time. She's in the house. And I totally relate to. Plus Deborah Romero is very warm and funny, and absolutely she is. So do pop in on the comments and say hello. And if you would like a reading tonight during the show, you text the number on the phone to save any harassment on the messages. You come through on the phone if you'd like a reading tonight. It's 07572788411. Got 15 minutes before Jane arrives to come on there. So hope you're all doing well tonight. So first of all, wanted to talk a little bit about the show. I first started 2 years today, 2 years exactly today on the show on pulsetalkradio.com, and I've had a great time. I have met an awful lot of people, and it's been amazing, but it's been every week. And now it's time to have a change of that, is what I get myself, and a change. Now, my company, the Psychic Clinic, is still sponsoring pulsetalkradio.com. So still go over onto those pages and listen to the other fellow radio presenters. But it's time for a change. And what is that change? Well, Spiritual Surgery is going to go podcast, but also we're going to go live streaming. Wasn't meant to be tonight, but hey ho, we are here. And wanted to say, a farewell. And it's important to say thank you to all the listeners who have supported me during those 2 years. And I just want to say thank you for them and listening every week. And you know who you are. And there's been lots of you who have been coming week in, week out, listening to the show. So do come over. Do say hello. Again, if you want a reading, please text the number. I've got my cards here, and I will do you some readings live on live streaming tonight. So the very first radio show I did, I was a bundle of nerves. I was really nervous. And do you know, I got my sister, I didn't tell everyone that, but my youngest sister came on the show, and she talked about her tragic loss of her cat that got run over. and she talked about the loss of animals and whether she can still get messages, and absolutely. So that was my very first one. It then grew and got a lot of very well-known people on the show. Nikki Allen is one of them who came on the show several times, as well as Mavis Pattilla too, as well. And Nikki Allen is coming back on the show live streaming next week too. And we've got Deborah Romero, who's been on the show a lot as well. She has, she's going to be hosting with me too. So what was my favourite radio show? Well, my favourite radio show was when I was over in France, and it streamed well then. It streamed well then. There we go. There's nothing really more to say to that. I've got all the wonderful cables in the world here, and it's just one of those things. Now, my favourite show, we'll go back on that again. It was with Rebecca Claridge, and she came over because she lives in France, and she came over and she demonstrated kendo. It was amazing. And she had all the outfit on, and we were hitting and everything. And a lot of listeners, they said it was really fun and they really enjoyed it, and thought it was absolutely great. So that was really, really one of my favourite shows, really. And the fact that we had Darren Britton on as well, and he was amazing to talk to. Mavis Pattilla, she's absolutely amazing. And the more I did it, the more less nervous I became and the more confident I became. And at the end of the day, it is about development, your spiritual development, and to help the listeners to help go forward. And that's why I still want to continue that with the podcast and live streaming. And I feel that that will really help. So spiritual surgery hasn't gone away. We are still continuing, but just in a different way. And I feel that it will move even more than it has. And, you know, I love helping people with the development and with techniques. And I feel that is, you know, a really positive thing. So I'm going to, while I'm waiting for Jane, and we're going to be talking about mindfulness this evening. So I'm going to give a little technique. Okay, and I'm going to do that now because that's what the show's about. It's about debating, it's about techniques. So what I'm going to show is a technique about your third eye. Now, a lot of people say you can keep your third eye open. It doesn't matter if you're okay to walk around and not worry. But if you have that confidence, that's absolutely amazing, and that is brilliant. And there's lots of different views. But when we first starting and we're first opening up to spirit, we open up, it's a floodgates. We open up our third eye and it floods out because it's all been built up. Oh yes, set me free in the spiritual sense. And your third eye flows and opens up. And, you know, you go into a room, sometimes you might see a picture or a face in a curtain or a mirror. So, and sometimes when you're new, you're like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So this is just a tip until you get more confidence in what you feel, what you see, and in your senses. And hello, Deborah, my lovely. And we're going to go live next week with Nikki Allen. So I'm going to do a little tip about that. And hello, Wayne. Thank you for joining tonight. And if you'd like a reading, please just text on the phone. Just text on the phone if you want a reading tonight. And I will do that for you. And this isn't how I wanted the show to end tonight or be like this, but I'll take it as a positive. That this is the way to go. I'll take it as a positive. So going back to the technique. So what I want you to do is, if your third eye is a little bit grey, if your third eye is feeling a little bit muggy, so how do you know that if you're just starting off? Well, you can sort of just shut your eyes and just sort of look at it Go up and just look at it. Shut your eyes, just look at your third eye. How is it feeling? Is it a little bit raggedy? Is it calm? What colour is it? Have a look at what that is doing for you right now. And then just expand it on the breath. Expand your third eye out. Just expand it on the breath. And when you bring it in on the in-breath, you bring it in even brighter and bigger and brighter. Expand it out. Bring it in brighter. Expand it out. Bring it in brighter. And keep doing that until you feel it so bright. So bright. And then if you're worried about going out, or you're worried about picking up, because third eye is the key, really, is the key for picking stuff up. So then just visualize it close. But sometimes it can just open just like that. So really now, take a breath to your heart. And then just breathe into your third eye. And breathe into your third eye. And visualize it closing. Just visualize it closing down. Anyhow, it can be anyhow. It doesn't matter how you want to close your third eye at all. It can be anyhow at all. And just visualize it closing down. And really breathe into it. Really, really breathe into it. And you can close it by a colour, another colour. Or you can close it by putting a lid on it. And what I do, actually, I put an anchor. I actually put an anchor. I put an anchor in there. And I really close it down with the anchor. And I have a mauve anchor and just a mauve anchor. And then I just drop the anchor down. Right the way going through all my chakras there. Going right the way down to the bottom. And they go right the way down to the earth. And then I lock them down. And that, if you're worried about going out for a meal, for example, if you're picking up on people's energies, that really will help you. It will help you not pick up or feel. And you bring the right the way down to the bottom of the earth. You bring that down, right the way down to the roots where your ankles are, and then right the way down again, even further, connecting to the roots of the trees, right the way down to the bottom there. And you bring that right the way down to the bottom. And lock it in, because that will really help you go forward. It will help you. So when we first start, we open up the floodgates and things just open up a lot. So if you want to not go into a shop and see things, or go into a pub and see things, then that exercise will really, really help you. And it will be really good. So that will really, really help you going forward. So I hope that little technique has helped. Now, the show is all about techniques. It's all about development. It's all about debating. And we're going forward. This is the last one on Pulse Talk Radio tonight, although we're not on it now because couldn't get through with my super duper cable. Didn't happen, and I'm not keep trying. So we're live streaming tonight. Technical issues, we're live streaming here tonight. So do come in and say hello. I'm waiting for my guests to come in tonight, and that was a little technique. Now, Jane's just said she's going to put some lipstick on. She's going to put some lipstick on. That's a good idea, Jane. That's a really good idea. So if you've got a message for Jane, please come and send a message on the comments or on the text. If you want a reading tonight, then it's the text that's coming up, 0757 278 8411. If you would like to say what was your best show, what was your best show that you had tonight, please come and say what it was. That would be really cool. And I told you about my best show, which was Kendo with Rebecca Claridge. That was absolutely amazing. And hello, Julia Claire. Thank you for joining. We are going live streaming because there was technical issues at Pulse Talk Radio. So we're live streaming tonight. So if you want a reading, I've got my cards here. Then just text the number below and we will do it. Not on the comments. If you've got a question for the guest, then you can put in the comments. But any readings go direct to the phone, which is right here. Right now, I'm in France in my caravan, and it's lovely to see you all coming in. Now, Jane will be coming in a moment. Now, I hope you liked the holistic bowls. Because it was very quick, that's all I've got time to set up. So I'm just going to do it again while we wait for our guests, and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go, Holistic Serenity. Good evening. Hello, Jane, my lovely. We are live on Spiritual Surgery Live, unexpected live, because I couldn't get through onto the Pulse Talk Radio.
Oh, no.
I've got an amazing streaming cable here over in France, and I just couldn't get through. So
Right.
thank you so much for agreeing to go live, my lovely.
Fine. It's fine. I have brushed my hair.
So, tell the viewers, who are you?
Jane Broome, fellow radio presenter, broadcasting from the Broome Cupboard on a Wednesday night. Live in Cornwall. Spiritual. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And we're here to talk about mindfulness this evening.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's vitally important, especially if you are prone to anxiety or things like that, to practice mindfulness.
And what I
Yeah.
was going to say, Jane, it is hard to do that, isn't it? It's like we all tick the boxes. We can all go and meditate. We can get all the things on meditation and everything. But to be mindful all the time, I think, is a really difficult task. Would you say?
Yeah, I don't think that you can be mindful all of the time. I think you have to program yourself so that when you know that you need to be present in that moment, that's when you actually start to do the mindfulness. I don't think it's something that I don't know. I suppose there are people who, you know, when you see people that are really chilled out on it and they don't sort of have anxiety and stuff like that probably are a lot, but I think that's more down to personality rather than anything else. But I think, we do need to get into that mindfulness state just to bring ourselves back to center.
And it's hard to do that, especially if you had some trauma in your childhood. It's like layers, isn't it? You might get a little bit better as you go on, but it feels like it's a bit of a journey, would you say?
I think, I think it's a bit like peeling an onion when you're trying to get to the root cause of things. And I don't sometimes think that you can actually get to that. I've read something lately where it said that you need to reach in and pull out the hurt and the wound, and otherwise you're going to bleed over everybody. And I thought, wow, that is so intense for somebody to even try to do that. I think you have to. I think what you have to do is you have to deal with the symptoms of that trauma first. You have to deal with how you react to it before you can actually go back.
Absolutely. And I think for myself, it's not until someone keeps telling you need help, you need to go and get that sorted, and you go, no, I'm fine. And until you actually accept that, hang on a minute, actually my anxiety is a little bit rocky here. I feel that I am responding, and I blame my father and I blame my mother and I blame everybody. And it's not until that moment in time that you actually think, actually, I can do anything. I can do anything. And so I feel it's like working through your energy, looking at it all, sitting in it all, the negative, the positive, the fear, and just embracing it all. But I would say that's hard to do.
It is, and I think that first and foremost, with the people that I've sort of spoken to that have a lot of past trauma, is that they have to be willing to let it go, to move on from it. Because we come from a place of comfort, I think, as human beings, where we'll think, oh, you know what, I'm functioning and I'm okay, and this happened, but I'm okay, and I'm comfortable with where I am. But as soon as you start to scratch under the surface and release a bit of the old hurt, they're like, I don't want to even go there, so I'm just going to stay where I am with it. And you have to, I think you have to allow yourself to be a human being first and foremost. And then and think, you know what, let's have a look at, we were talking about shadow work, weren't we, last time?
Yes.
And I think if we can get to that point where we can sit comfortably with ourselves and allow ourselves to be to make mistakes, to do things that possibly aren't sometimes nice. I'm not saying anything fundamental really bad, but accept ourselves as we are. And once we've got to that point, when you actually can say, you know what, I love you, in the mirror to yourself, that's part of the way to dealing with things. Because then once you're happy with who you are, and it doesn't matter what anybody else says, it's just an opinion, you can then go back and you can look at what was said to you and know that it wasn't right, that it wasn't true. And that's part of the healing as well, is that acceptance and journeying back. And a lot of people still take on board criticism from other people, and it's like, but it doesn't matter. If you're happy with yourself, then that's all you need to be.
And I think sensitive people like ourselves do take it more personally. I remember when I was younger, I used to cry all the time when someone was even slightly a little bit off with me. I think I was really sensitive to that, and it sort of really affects you when you're sensitive as well, doesn't it? It's like bush.
Yeah.
And you take it, and it's like, well, why did they do that? And then you have a look. But I would say also, when you work with yourself and you come through, then that doesn't affect you. But also, people tend not to be rude to you because you've cleared your stuff, you've cleared your energy, and then people tend to either avoid you or actually not be rude to you because you are actually showing different energy. Would you say, Jen?
Yeah, completely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. That, you know, when you show a side to people that they can't manipulate anymore, they go and find somebody else to manipulate and to be mean to. But it is, I got to about 48 years of age with thinking that everybody was better than me because of what my childhood growing up and being told that I wasn't very good and useless. And it took a long time for me to actually sit within that. And I did a lot of work over a lot of months where I come to the conclusion that I actually didn't give a stuff anymore what people thought of me, because I was happy with who I was. And from that moment on, it's been different, you know, that my outlook's been different with people. But like you said, if you give off, and I think we absorb other people's emotions as well. So if we're faced with somebody that's angry, we're going to feel that anger in here. And sometimes it's quite difficult to think, you know, sometimes that I'll be in company with people and I'll think, I feel quite irate at the moment. I'm not quite sure why. And it's because I'm picking up other people's anger.
Right.
And you have to think, you know what, this is not my emotion, and let it go. Let it go.
Yes. No, absolutely. And just say hello to the listeners. We've got Amanda, Judy, well, the people that are actually viewing. Judy, Julia, Wayne, Deborah, Mia, and Jane, as you know, this is my last one. We got a nice message from a listener come in, and she actually mentioned you. She said, "Hi Paula, I've really enjoyed your show so much in the last year. You have had some brilliant guests, but my favourite one was Jane Broome, who I totally related to."
Yeah. Just I need to send that woman a tenner in the post if it is a woman.
It's a woman, and her name is Jackie. And she's also put, plus Deborah Romero is warm and funny. So there were her two favourite. And as you know, this is the last one tonight. And I was trying to get people to, you know, say what their favourite show was as well. My favourite show, Jane, was when Rebecca Claridge came over here in France, and she is a kendo expert, and she came in with all her kendo outfit, and through the radio I did kendo with her, and you could hear the sounds, and honestly it was so funny, so that I was going to say that it was my favourite one.
Oh no, you will be missed. Most definitely you'll be missed. But you are moving to a different platform, aren't you? So people can still.
We're going to go live streaming once a month, and that's on Monday, and we have the lovely Nikki Allen coming on, and then Spiritual Surgery will go Spiritual Surgery podcast.
Wow. Yeah.
So just going down.
Definitely the right time, I think, for you to be moving in a different direction with it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, it's 2 years, and it has been a wonderful 2 years. And Julia Claire says, "I love all the shows; they are so interesting." So thank you, Julia. That's lovely of you to say that. And it is a development show with tips and techniques. And Jane, are you up to a meditation later as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do a meditation. It's only going to be a short one, but it's going to be one that you can do anywhere. So not when you're driving. Don't do it when you're driving. A friend of mine actually put a meditation tape into her stereo while she was driving, which was like, don't do it. Don't ever do that. No. But if we can do a meditation that is calming and healing, so that we can bring ourselves back to the moment. So it's going to be a mindful one as well.
And thank you, Amanda, for your lovely words. Loved all the ones I watched, learnt so much. Thank you. That's lovely for you to say that too. Now, I'm going to just do a little tip, Jane, for mindfulness, to actually how you actually can sort of switch that off and get into a mindful state. So my tip to do that, so a lot of people, Jane, I don't know about you, but they do struggle with meditation. They do struggle getting into that zone. They've got this, their brain is going round and round. They're picking up on something that they can't get their head out of, and it's consuming. And that is hard to do then, to suddenly, you know, people rush, they go to work, they come back, oh, let me do my mindfulness. But actually, how many people actually do it properly? Would you say?
Time is the cause of an awful lot of distress as well, isn't it? Never feeling like you've got enough time.
Yeah.
You have to sort of, but I think if you make time, if you say, right, from 7 o'clock till 7:30, I'm going to spend half an hour, I'm going to try and meditate, I'm going to listen to some relaxing music, and I'm going to try and unwind from the day, and try and just set time, time aside. I'm terrible for, I never meditate.
No. And a lot of people, they find it hard to meditate. So I have a little tip, not saying it works completely, but for me, we have a physical body and we have a spiritual energy. And when we're running around all day long, our energies, when we're anxious, come out. It's like as if we're tuning in, our energies sort of rise up. So then when you come down and you sit to meditate, you might not be able to sort of connect because your energies are out. So you're not properly grounded. So my tip is just to sit in your heart, take a breath to your heart, and then breathe up to your crown. And on the breath, just bring, say 5 times, and just bring your energies down. Because that way your energies come in to your auric field. They come in and you will feel calmer instantly. Because a lot of us, we run around half. When I say half out, our energies are half out of our body. And so if we bring them in and then we sort of root down, visualize roots from the earth going down from your ankles right the way down into the earth, then you can sort of feel calmer. And then, but my main tip then is to breathe in golden calming light. Just visualize it in for 3, out for 3, round your heart, and call it like a calming meditation bubble. Bring it all the way into your body while you're deep breathing in for 3, out for 3. And you bring it right the way around inside your body and then out, calming you down. Just calming your auric field, only focusing on the bubble and nothing else. And then you are sort of in a better place. I don't know what you feel about that.
Yeah, Jen. I think anything that you can do that involves focusing on your breathing.
Yes.
And calming your breathing down. And focusing on and visualizing, like you said, that the energy is coming in. And sometimes with people, I've suggested inhaling, and then when they actually do the exhale, they visualize that they are actually exhaling the anxiety and the stress, and they can see it.
Yes.
But another good way with meditation, because I know that there's people that have anxiety attacks where they go from nothing to like anxiety up here. And a good technique to learn with that one, and it sounds a bit bizarre, but it does work, is to actually visualize you're in a position where you need to take control of something. So you could visualize, when I had anxiety, what I used to do was I used to visualize that I was in a boat on a fast flowing river and I'd lost my oars. So I've got reason then. If I'm visualizing that, I have reason to feel anxiety. So I'm validating the actual emotion with that. And then what I used to do was I used to take control of the situation and visualize that I had somebody had handed me my oars back, and I was going to bring the boat under control.
Right.
And get to the side. And I used to find that if I visualized something like that and
Yes.
then went through the actual taking control of the visualization, it used to calm. My anxiety used to drop
Right.
back down
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, and to me, like, you're right in saying it is about the breathing, because we forget we can be in control of our energies. Our energies are so powerful within us, and if we don't tap into them, then we forget. We don't know that we can actually control how we're feeling. And it does take mindfulness. It does take time, because obviously we've all had different lives and different childhood and different passes. And, you know, but if we connect to our energy, know it, accept it, embrace it, I feel that we can achieve anything within that.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that. Yeah.
But
take control.
Take control. But it's not easy to take control. And, you know, like you said, Jane, you had a difficult childhood. I had a difficult childhood. And, you know, you often forget, like now, later on, at how difficult it was. And then something then recognizes and you change behavior and you think, oh God, don't you? And so it's not easy at all to be mindful all the time. And it's a bit like being spiritual. You can't be spiritual all the time, or can you? What's your view on that, Jane?
Yeah. No, I think you have to step into the actual physical realm every now and again, because I think there's two ways though, isn't it? You can live a spiritual life all the time, but you can't work with spirit all the time, because I think you just get bombarded by too much energy all the time.
And that's why it's important people can shut down, can close off. And I don't know about you when you were a child, but when I was a child, I could see them all the time. And I remember I was on a bus when I was 11, and I couldn't cope. I could pick up what was going on with the man, the woman, and particularly there was a boy and a girl, and I was like, oh no, the girl's not happy. And I could feel the sorrow. And then I looked to my right and I felt the happiness, and I just came off that bus thinking, no, stop.
Yeah, that's very difficult to deal with at such a very young age, having to deal with other people's, you know, work through emotions that are not even yours, that are adult emotions as well. You know, for a small child, you've done really well, I think. Yeah.
It's hard, but now obviously then, you know, when I was sort of 16, 17, I had a mentor and I'm able to control it. And then I only tune down now when I'm working, and I can go to a pub, I can go out, I can go to a restaurant without picking up on anything. And it is possible when you can do it. Some people don't like it. They want to feel it, don't they?
They do. But I think for people who work with spirit all the time, I know when I first started to develop, it was constant noise all the time. But as I've sort of got a bit older, that has sort of dropped. If I like with you, you know, I make that connection and say, right, Wednesday night, I'm doing a reading, make the connection because I need you to come through for the reading. So it's very rare. In fact, sometimes it feels a little bit like flat, as if I think, wow, I've not had a spiritual connection for a few days. But I always take that as the fact that I probably either didn't have time for it or I didn't need it at that time.
Yes, no, I take that very much as that. I mean, since I arrived in France, I haven't made any connection to it at all, apart from today, a little bit. But apart from that, I haven't. And it is good to switch off. Don't you agree? And that is mindfulness in my point of view. If you switch off, there's a lot of psychics that burn out. There's a lot of psychics that, you know, don't do it anymore because they can't cope with the energies. And I would say, if you learn how to switch on and switch off, you do manage it better.
Yeah. And if you think about it, if you can do that with energy, then we can do that. We can learn to do that with anything, can't we? Going back to anxiety and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. And we're talking about anxiety tonight. So if you're listening and you need some advice about your anxiety, then Jane Broom is here and I am here to help you. So do send in, you can put the comments on here that will go out. So if you need any advice about helping with your anxiety, then please do send in a message, or there's a text number on the bottom there that you can send in to. And you know, I'm not going to lie. I've had anxiety all my life when I was younger, really badly. Used to have panic attacks and all sorts of anxiety. And also, Jane, I don't know if many people know, but I used to have a stutter as well when I was younger, because I just couldn't cope going out in a group of people. When I, you know, so it started about 14, and I just couldn't really speak in a group. Now look at me now. So totally understand. And you know, and it is through our experiences that we can help others, isn't it, Jane?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, for me, people who are spiritual, who make, you know, there's so many different spiritualists, psychics, mediums, whatever name you want to call yourself out there. And the ones that I resonate with are the ones like yourself who, you know, for me, my spirituality is there for me to send the message out to people, to help people who are grieving or hurt or upset, or you know, they're dealing with past stuff, to try and get them to feel better about self-empowerment, about themselves.
Yes.
You know, I've met some psychics, some mediums who are just egotistical, just driven by, but look what I can do. But I think for me, we need to be there to be. I can't think of I'm going through the menopause, and the words just go like that. I think we need to be, you know,
natural. Naturally,
just natural and normal.
Normal and without sort of, and just connect to the soul, and just because when we're mediums, we connect to the soul. The person that we're reading, and that is enough in my view, because you really can feel how that person is feeling, and you can really feel their sadness or their upset. You can't, you, Jane? Like, you can really feel it when you connect with someone, and I think that's enough to be able then just to be able to help. I feel spirit bring the clients that we've had the experiences of. A lot of spiritual people have had eventful lives, I will say. They have, because how can you empathize with somebody if you haven't been through it? You know, you can't. No. And that's why I think spirit are clever in that way. They bring you the clients that you can sort of really help with, and have an understanding of that as well.
When I was away very briefly, I was told, basically, or pushed in a direction when we were on holiday up north, to go on a walk one morning, which I don't normally do. And I was staying at a friend's house, and I thought, I'm going to go. It's a really nice day, and I was compelled to go. I had to go, and I went on this walk. Wasn't really sure where I was going, but I followed the road, and I had to be. I'm not going to go into any details. Or I had to be on that road, on that spot at 10 to 8 on that morning, to be there for somebody in the middle of nowhere. And thinking about it, because it was almost like, you know, when you see on the films where somebody just sort of sits up straight in bed and gets out and then moves slowly. That's what it was like that morning. I just thought, I need to go for a walk. I need to get up now and get dressed and go out for a walk. And I did. And I needed to be there. So I agree with you that we get sent people who we can heal, but can also teach us things as well.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that is really important as well, that you never stop developing, you know, and you always learn something from someone, don't you?
You do.
I think it's really, really important to do that. So we're talking about mindfulness, and what would you recommend to someone? How long, Jane, should they do mindfulness in a week? Say, should they do it once, twice? Does it matter? What sort of would you say is how someone should do that?
I think they should do it whenever they feel like they need to do it.
Yes.
How I practice mindfulness is by actually being aware that I am going off on a tangent, or my emotions are all over the place, or I've had a conversation with somebody that wasn't particularly nice, so I need to bring myself back to not feel that emotion anymore. So I will practice mindfulness then. I think just focus now exactly what you're doing right now on the task, and let everything else go, and just focus. Right. Take a few deep breaths, bring yourself back. And I think you should just do it. Because mindfulness is a tool for us to be present in that moment, and quite often we're not. Especially important. I tell you, one time I first sort of found mindfulness beneficial, and it was still when I was quite a few years ago, 7 years ago. I was taking my daughter to IKEA to pick some bedroom furniture up for a nursery because my granddaughter was on the way. And I was still having anxiety, and I had to drive a fair way on the motorway, and I didn't want to do it. And I thought, well, what if I have an anxiety attack? I'm going to be in IKEA. I'm going to be an hour away from home, and I wound myself up. And I sat there and I thought, you're going to do something really lovely. Yes. Focus on that. Focus on this moment right now and what you're doing, and then leave everything else. Worry about it. If it happens, you'll deal with it. And that brought my anxiety right down, and I had a fabulous time.
Yeah, oh no, that's amazing, because also that resonates with me. I think we're always thinking, next week, what's going to happen next week? The week, it's like the show. As soon as the show finishes, what am I doing next week? What guests am I having? We're always thinking, we're not actually focusing now, this moment. And I think that's a lot of it as well, isn't it? And I think that's how some psychics can get into their ego, because they're always focusing on the next, going through their mind, and not actually focusing on this moment in time.
Yeah. We just worry about stuff that hasn't even happened.
Yes, and then we worry about a future that doesn't happen as well, and use focus on, is this going to happen? Am I going to have a house move, for example? Or am I going to get a really good client somewhere else? Or am I going to do this? Or am I going to do that? And sometimes you can destroy yourself by asking the questions over and over again. And I know when you first start being spiritual and you sort of get your cards and you read, I remember when I was little, I was reading all the time, and I got this sort of big stop from Spirit. Stop. You know the answers, Paula. You don't have to keep asking us. We want to go on holiday. and a couple of years ago, my guides did go on holiday. They said, we've had enough. We've had enough.
I've got visions. I've got visions of your guardian angel being like this.
Yeah. Deborah's saying, so true, Miss Paula. but absolutely. And you can push your guides as well, can't you? You sort of can push them to the limit where they said enough. Because at the end of the day, we're in this world, and we have to connect to this world to be able to help ourselves in the materials. It's such a wonderful feeling. And when you do mindfulness as well, you do get that connection. Although you're not connecting to spirit, you actually get like a connection, don't you, Jane?
You're getting a connection with yourself. Yes. You're actually connecting, because I always think that people run about and they'll have the physical part of them, and they'll have the spirit, but they don't recognize both as separate.
No.
So they don't focus on that inner voice that they sometimes don't listen to, or they'll listen to, how they're feeling. They won't take on board. So I always feel that we don't give the fact that we have a spirit enough credit. And I think when we're mindful and we're bringing everything into sync, and we're becoming whole. We're becoming one.
Yes. I mean, I remember when I first started, everyone says, oh, you know, your channeling is so light and bright. And I'm like, well, why can't I feel it for myself? Why can't I feel it for myself? I can't feel it. I wish I could feel this wonderful light. Well, now I do, because obviously I've had a journey of clearing it all and working through my anxiety and my childhood and coming through. Now I can feel the light, but it takes time to do that, and it is a journey. Would you say, Jane? You can't just suddenly do it overnight.
Oh, you can't just wake up one morning and go, oh yes, fabulous. It's all gone. Where's it gone? Somebody's come and removed it from me in the middle of the night. Now you have to do it. You have to go on a specific journey to do it, and you have to go over old things. You have to drag stuff up. I sometimes think you have to really sort of I've visualized actually dragging a memory up and physically telling it to go. I don't need you anymore, and I'm going to drop kick you over the back fence. You can't come back. That's it, because I'm not going to feel the pain from that anymore. And I think you have to. It's not a quick fix.
It isn't a quick fix, and all I'll say is keep going, everybody, because you know a lot of psychics or people that are starting to develop, and you know their channel is good, their channel is amazing, but when they come down from that channel, that's when it doesn't feel so good. That's when it feels not so good. And all I'll say is keep going, because it's worth it in the end. And if you work on your own, that will change. And then when you tune up and come down, it will feel good. It will feel that you're in that energy, you're in that healing energy yourself. And it is worth the tears and the sweat and because it's not easy going on a journey. But keep going with it, keep looking, keep finding people that will help you, self-healing as well. I mean, Jane, do you think you can self-heal yourself on this sort of journey with mindfulness?
I think it's vital that you can, you know, acknowledge the fact that you are able to do that. I think that's where it has to start. I think if you get help from somebody else, that is them helping you on your journey. But you have to be able and wanting to do it yourself. You have to. We're capable of so much as human beings, and we don't utilize that. We don't. You know, I sometimes think, wow, I feel like I've just looked outside for the first time, because we don't see. We blinker. We're on our phones. We're on TV. We have an awful lot of electronic smog that clouds us. We've got our emotions, and mindfulness just brings you back into that. Wow, I'm looking out, I'm seeing a beautiful tree or a beautiful sky, or I can smell the flowers, or I can feel the warmth of the sun. It's going back to basics of probably how we live. If you think about it, you know, if we lived like 300, we'd have been actually on the ducking stool, me and you, wouldn't we, 300 years ago? But you know, but if you think about how we need to slow our lives down, we have to slow down. We need to switch things off. We need to get back to basics of, you know, healthy diet.
Absolutely. And it's hard though, you know, because when you've come from, say, a negative background, meaning, you know, and I'm going to be honest, you know, my upbringing was a bit negative all the time. You learn that negative behavior. You always say some negative thing without saying the positive. And it's really hard to wake up in the morning after years of being, we're not going to have a good day. Look at the weather, you know, oh, next door neighbor doing this, the noise is too loud, whatever it is. And you've got that 20 years of that, and you come out of that, and it's hard to change that thinking, because you've learnt it, haven't you? You've learnt your anxiety in a way from the people around you.
Well, but you know, when we're children, we're very you know, we take as gospel what people say to us. We take it, you know, and sometimes, quite often, people don't really understand what it's like to be in a normal family, or to have loving parents, or to have loving siblings, or to have that wholesome family life. because all I know is what they saw when they were little, and it is very difficult. And I think we tend to get drawn to people who remind us of our parents or our siblings, and that's when we follow a pattern of going from an abusive relationship into another abusive relationship and into another. We need to break that pattern.
Yes.
And that starts with self-healing as well.
Yeah, that is so true. You're absolutely right. And but it's hard to break that pattern, isn't it? It's hard. And it's hard to see that you're so negative. For me, it's like, I'm nothing like my mother. I'm nothing like her. And absolutely, I'm absolutely like her. But, you know, but I sometimes that her character comes out in me, and I'm like, oh my God. Who can I go and see to get help? You know, and it's hard.
Recognizing it. You're recognizing it though. So that's the first step, saying, hang on a minute, I am acting like my mother and I don't want to act like that. So let's flip that around a bit.
Yes. Yeah. And it is hard, but there are tips, aren't there? There's lots of sort of tips that we can do. And I think it's about finding a therapist, not all the time, but someone that we feel we can relate to help us on our journey. Because I think sometimes we need that. And Ian Claridge is saying hello. So hello, Ian, my lovely. And I just wanted to say that that's because the best show, Ian, Rebecca's husband's on, the best show that I liked was the Kendo when Rebecca came over here. And that really sits in my mind. It was so much fun as spiritual surgery. In fact, it's 2 years to today, actually, Jane, to the date. 2 years to the date. But I think going back to mindfulness, I think, you know, it is about finding someone as well that can help you, and then giving you the strength to be able to do that self-healing as well on your own.
Yeah.
And then finding people or a group that you like. And Rebecca has said, oh, wow, that was a fun session. A fun session, Rebecca. That was hilarious. I love that. That's my favourite one. So thank you. Thank you, my lovely. But it's hard, isn't it?
It is. I think you have to set intentions and what, you know, about what do I want to change in my life? What's not working? What am I covering up? What am I putting a sticking plaster on? You know, and set the intention from the start that this is what I want to change. I want to change my life, and I'm willing. And make yourself a commitment to be willing to do whatever it takes to do that. And also be honest with yourself and be real with it and say, you know what, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be times when I'm going to take 2 steps forward and 3 miles back, but that's all part of the process that I'm going to go through. And I must, you know, I need to recognize that. And you have to, because we do get so comfortable in a rut. And lifting the head above the parapet of that rut and thinking there's an actual a world out there that I want to join in with.
Yes,
it's difficult, but it's doable. It is doable.
It is.
Yeah.
But no,
you need to. Yeah, the CBT, talking therapies. There's all sorts of different organisations out there that you can actually sort of interact with as part of that journey, and I think that is important as well, to get professional help as well. If you feel like you need professional help, seek it. Don't feel like there's a stigma of, oh, I need to, or I can't do that, because, you know, it doesn't matter. If you broke your leg, you go to see a doctor. If you know, if you've got a toothache, you go and see a dentist. If you're suffering from emotional distress, it's really important that you deal with it.
Yes,
really important.
And it makes it so much easier, and it's like a weight off your shoulders if you go and see a counsellor or whoever you'd like to see. It is such a relief as well. And Rebecca said it's really hard to change negative thought patterns, and absolutely. And you know, I know that as well myself from my childhood. It is really difficult to do, but keep going, keep seeking the way forward that works for you. I mean, I've had healing a lot of my life, and I feel that works for me. I've also had counselling too. I feel that has worked for me. And I think, you know, it just to seek what you feel is right for you. There's so many therapies out there now, Jane, isn't there?
Yeah, there's alternative therapies, there's traditional therapies, there's so many different ones out there. And I think sometimes just being able to talk through with the emotions that you know, this is how I feel right now. And if you can actually voice that, and for somebody to say, I understand you and I actually get you because I know I've been there. And for them to look, you know, I say to people, look at me, agoraphobic for 10 years, didn't go out the house.
Yeah.
And look at me now. And that's through working on myself and getting angry with me, especially thinking, why are you doing this to yourself? You are actually giving yourself this anxiety. You're controlling it in your head. Why are you doing this? And I always found that if I swapped the emotion as well, that's another good one where you think, you know what, I need to do something, maybe distract myself, read something, look at something funny, or think of a situation where I actually laughed. And that you can't feel happy and sad at the same time.
No.
So if you can think, well, this is the emotion I've got at the moment, I'm feeling a bit flat. What do I need to get my emotion up? Maybe I need to read something. Maybe you need 5 minutes and just deep breathe, and try and swap the emotion out.
Yeah, and you know, I think as well, it's about looking within you. It's like someone says, you know, someone came to me and said, you know, there's lots of dark energy that comes their way. Why are they you know, why are they doing what are they doing? I said, well, look deep within you. What deep in with you needs to be cleared so that that doesn't come your way. And I know we brushed on that earlier, but I really believe that it is our energy, isn't it? You can't go around saying, well, oh, it's their energy, they gave me their energy, whereas we've got to look at ourselves and what is in it ourselves that is responding really negatively to that person's energy. Like you say, like you said earlier, we can feel people's energy. Absolutely, you can feel it, but you shouldn't be afraid of it, that it will come on you, if that makes sense. And it is standing in your own energy without fear of picking anything up or you know, being too sensitive with the energies. It's knowing your own energy and working within limits with that, I would say.
Yeah. I think we quite often, sometimes if we look at somebody and don't like what we see, it's where our part of us that we don't like is responding to what we see in them, and we're actually acknowledging the fact that, you know, we do have facets that maybe are not, you know, we can't all be 100% angelic all the time. We are human. We do have emotions. We do get angry. We get sad and fed up and negative and all of that. And I think it's being aware of, you know, and just allowing yourself to be a human being.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of psychics feel they can't be human, they can't also help, they can't say that they're struggling with this or they're not feeling it. I always been an open canvas. I need help. You know, help me. I've always been like that, which I actually think is a good thing now. I thought it was a bit of a weakness when I was growing up, but actually, you know, I think it's important. A lot of healers, they don't get healing themselves, they don't, you know, they don't say that they're struggling, and I think it's important that people do, because it helps with their development. And Deborah said, lovely, great topic. Thank you, Deborah. So Jane, now you're going to be doing a brief meditation.
Right, okay.
Now, do you want me to play some music, or are we okay?
Have you got any
I've got some calming heavy metal. Actually, that's a good mindset, isn't it?
Let's start off as we intend to go on. Yeah, no, we can play some music.
I've got some calming music, if that's all right with you. I'll put it on in a second. So for the people that are watching tonight, what do they have to do to get into the meditation?
I think it's just focus on your breathing. Listen to what I'm saying, and any words that come in, just acknowledge them. And I always say, you know, it's going to come in one ear. You might get, oh, tea tomorrow night. Let it just flow out the other ear. Let it go. Don't need to worry about anything at the moment apart from taking a deep breath. And if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, then close your eyes, take a deep breath, and visualize that you have a beautiful amethyst crystal and it's spinning gently above the top of your head. It's going to bring healing, and it's going to bring protection as well. It's very important if you're going to do any meditation or any mindfulness is to always ask for protection. Just simply ask, please protect me whilst I do this. Take a deep breath and breathe out. This beautiful amethyst is going to start showering you with purple energy. You won't be able to feel it unless you want to feel it. You won't be able to see it unless you want to see it. But it's raining on you. And I want you to visualize that it's taking all the stress away from the day. It's literally going to wash over you and flow into the floor. I always like to have spirit guides involved with meditations, and I also like to have angelic energy involved in meditations as well. So just be aware that if you feel any energy around you that feels slightly different, it's a spirit guide or it's your angelic energy, and they're there for protection. They're there to heal you, and they're there to de-stress and get rid of anything you need to get rid of from today. We're going to replace the amethyst with a clear quartz crystal, and that's going to emit a gentle glow. I want you to visualize that it's sitting just above the top of your head, and this glow is going to work its way from the front all the way down to the floor, and then it's going to come back up and it's going to complete the circle. And it's remembering that life is a complex series of circles. We move through life every day. We go through things the same, and we come back and we do the same again. And I just want you to be aware that you can break these circles anytime that you want to. We can change patterns of behaviour. We can change thought patterns. We can get off the negative train sometimes and stop and think more positive about situations. And it's just allowing yourself to heal yourself. So we're going to allow this energy to completely flow from the top of our heads. It's going to flow over the front into the ground, and then it's going to come back full circle. Feel the connection with the floor through your feet. And I want you to feel that there is an anchor that's anchoring you to the floor. It's not there to keep you from moving. It's not there to stop you from doing anything apart from bringing you a little bit of peace and happiness. And you're going to anchor to that ground with the energy as it flows around you. Take a moment and clear your head and focus on how you exactly feel right now. Any emotions that come in, acknowledge them, but just give yourself permission to allow that emotion to flow back out again. We want to remain calm. We want to be able to get into this position where we can sit and breathe without any fear, without any stress, without any thought or worry for tomorrow. We just want to allow ourselves simply to sit within ourselves and be still. Focus on your breathing. As you breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out. Pause after each breath and feel the quiet, feel the stillness, feel how your body is just sat within itself right now. I'm going to allow the energy to stay with you for a little while. but it's perfectly safe and you're perfectly protected. And any moments you get where you feel overwrought or you feel fraught or you're not quite sure what the answer is, take 5 minutes just to sit, visualize the energy from your spirit guides and your angelic guides. Feel the energy from the crystals, feel the warmth, and sit quiet and allow your thoughts to gently go into a flat calm. So
That's lovely. I'm so calm. There's your voice. I'm like,
I send people to sleep. That's what I need to be doing for a living. You could like
honestly, you've got a
Yeah.
beautiful voice with that. That was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much, Dane, for
Mm.
doing that. That honestly, I was thinking, I've got to keep my eyes open. I've got to keep my eyes open. But that was absolutely lovely. And thank you so much for coming up to the end of the time. But thank you so much for coming on. It wasn't how we were meant to be tonight, but sometimes that's okay. That's okay. And we've got a message. Thank you so much, Jane. Beautiful. So Deborah Romero, really.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. It was lovely, Jane. And I'm going to be doing a podcast on spiritual surgery, so that would be great if you could come on with me, Jane, and we can have a chat.
Yeah, just anytime. Just give me a shout because it's lovely. It's lovely, and people should just. I always felt when I was growing up that I was looking at life through a plate glass window at everybody else getting on with their life. And I think I always felt a bit like the lame duck and a little bit unusual. And, people used to say, oh, you're a bit weird, you are. And now I actually celebrate that fact. I celebrate the fact that people sometimes think I'm a little bit off the wall or a bit weird or whatever, And we should celebrate ourselves for what we are and for who we are and big yourself up all the time.
Yes.
Tell yourself, if you're having a really bad day, go and stand in the mirror and go, come on, you got this. It's going to get better. It's just a bad day. It's not a bad year or a bad life. We can, and have that two-way conversation with yourself. I do it. Sometimes I'm at work, I'm working away, and I'll go, oh, for God's sake, go and have a word with yourself. And I'll go in the bathroom and I'll talk to myself in the mirror. I'll say, what's going on? Come on, tell me what's going on in your head right now. Why are you acting like this?
Yeah. And it's important to actually do that. And I think if we sort of come from our heart and sit in our heart and really say what's going on, we can get the answer, can't we? If we're up here in the clouds, it's hard to, but if we come sort of and ground down, we can. And Judy has said, fabulous, thank you, I drifted away. Rebecca said thank you, and Deborah as well says something. So we've got lots of people that really enjoyed your meditation, Jane, including myself. So where can people find you, Jane? Where can they find you?
Oh, I'm a bit of a reclusive medium, I think.
But they can find you on your radio show, can't they?
You can find me on Wednesday night, 8 till 10 on Pulse Talk Radio. I'm on Facebook. There's broadcasting from the broom cupboard, the Facebook page, or send me a message on Messenger. I've not really done an awful. I know with the pandemic and everything that's gone on.
Yes,
it feels like I've gone sort of a little bit of a, I just want a bit of a chill out. I just want to float down the river on a lilo at the moment and not actually get my feet wet. You know what I mean? But I need to get back into doing a bit more, I think.
No, I think you should, and I think meditations on. Julia's said wonderful, thank you. So lots of people have really enjoyed that short meditation, and I think you're really amazing at that. And I know you do them on your radio show, which is actually on Wednesday. What time is it, Jane?
8 o'clock, 8 till 10. 8 till 10. I do a generic reading at just after 9 o'clock that people can take bits out of, so it's for everybody.
Yes.
We do the healing meditation, do a guided meditation. Sometimes we go on a journey. It's a good. I get an awful lot from the 2 hours. I can start at 8 o'clock feel a bit frazzled or a bit tired or about a stressful day, and at 10 o'clock I'll switch everything off and I feel like I've had healing myself.
It's a very chilled out show. I do say to everyone to have a listen. It is very relaxing as well, and I think it is a really lovely show, so do check Jane out. Thank you so much, Jane, for coming on unexpected live, but without any script. I think we did well, actually. I think we did well. But it's my last show on Pulse Talk Radio. So, but thank you so much for taking part tonight and coming on Spiritual Surgery as well. You're a lovely guest, and hopefully you will come on my podcast, the Spiritual Surgery podcast.
I will anytime. Just give me a shout, and I want to. I wanted to do. Have you got time for me to do a card for you?
Yes, absolutely. We have time.
I thought about this earlier on, and I thought I've never done it before, like live with a card. You've got the dream. I don't know if you probably can't see this. Can you see that?
Oh yes, I can. I can see
Dreamtime creation, and it's this card is a full card. And what I'm getting from this card is no matter which direction you go in now, it's the right direction.
Oh, right.
And there's opportunity. I feel like there's a block. There's been a bit of a blockage with things, and you need not with you with your health or anything like that, but not a spiritual block either. But there's been something that's like an invisible hand that's been sort of pulling you back a little bit.
Okay.
And every time you've gone to take a step forward with something, it's felt like it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was going to be a smooth passage. It might feel a little bit, it's grating on me, and I don't know why. And this should be feeling different.
Yes,
that block's gone. That block has been removed.
Brilliant.
And I feel like there is more things opening up, more opportunities, different directions as well with spirituality. Something that you might have thought about 10 years ago and thought, no, I'm not going to, that's not me, that's not how I work. But other people are going to come in and they're going to guide you as well. And you're going to go off in so many different directions, and so many different opportunities are coming up.
Wow.
So sky's the limit.
Thank
is what
you.
I've just got. Sky's the limit.
Thank you. That is really lovely of you to do that on the last show of Pulse Talk. That's made me well up. That.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you. And our paths will cross again. I know they will.
Yeah, they will definitely. They will.
Well, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. How lovely was Jane? And it's getting dark in the caravan here. Because it's an hour later. We're in France. It's an hour later. And thank you, Julia, to say a great show. I've always learned so much each time, and thank you so much. So thank you to everybody who has been following and listening to Spiritual Surgery for the last 2 years. And Jane has just made me cry with the reading. But thank you so much for everybody who's been tuning in and listening. And Deborah, blessings on your new venture, Miss Paula. Sky's the limit. And thank you, my lovely. And you will be able to see Deborah and me and Nikki Allen live a week today on live streaming. And we will be interviewing the wonderful Nikki Allen on the show. We'll be debating and we'll having techniques. But thanks again for everybody who has spent their Mondays on Pulse Talk Radio 6:30 to 8 o'clock listening to Spiritual Surgery. And I know that Spiritual Surgery is going bigger and better and wider on a wider audience. And thank you so much for all your lovely words today. And actually, it was obviously meant to be this way, wasn't it? And thank you for your show. It's been fab. I've learned so much. Look forward to seeing you on your new adventure. And thank you so much, Rebecca, too. And yes, we will be doing live streaming once a month. We will be doing a Spiritual Surgery podcast too, which will be out in all domains. So keep looking at the Spiritual Surgery Facebook page and the Twitter page for all the events that are coming up for spiritual surgery. It's not over, and hopefully it's a development show, and hopefully we'll bring the guests and the development even further to help you on your journey too. So I'm going to end again with Holistic Serenity. They're beautiful. They're husband and wife, and they live in Ibiza. And Nicola, she came on spiritual surgery. So I'm going to do it again and play them while we are just taking the last break to say farewell to everybody. And thank you for all the guests and amazing Deborah Romero, because I found her on spiritual surgery. So spiritual surgery pulse talk won't be the same, because I found Deborah on there. And watch out for our events and you'll see them coming up. And on the 14th, I'm doing a caravan with a crystal ball. I've got the crystal ball here. Ooh. Deborah and I on the 14th. There's still tickets available. Message me at thepsychicclinic.com and we can book you in. So next week, Deborah is in the range. She's the host. I'm taking a back seat. So thank you again. Here is Holistic Serenity. And Wayne has just said, bon continuation, thank you for all the advice. And it will continue, Wayne. It will continue going, the advice, but just on a different format. So thank you once again. And here is Holistic Serenity. Good night. Take care. Lots of love. And still look out for the spiritual surgery posts on Twitter and Facebook. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching tonight. It's a bit difficult, bit of technical issues, but now we're well out of that. And take care, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.